Welcome to Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes. This is a talk video. This is going to be a quick one. I want to wrap up some of my thoughts from the last talk video where we broke down the Kenobi kit and where we looked at the Kenobi final requirements. Based on those final requirements, I want to revisit the dark side requirements and start speculating what they could be for whatever that dark side galactic legend will be. Most likely Lord Vader, from all the context clues that we have. So Jedi Master Kenobi breaks the established pattern for Galactic Legend requirements, and how he breaks those established patterns might give us some context clues for what the Dark Side Galactic Legend requirements are going to be. So here I have the Sith Eternal Emperor requirements. All these requirements come from either the Sith or the Empire factions, primarily the Empire faction, and there is one requirement of the opposite alignment, which is Jedi Knight Anakin. Now with Rey, all of her requirements come from the Resistance faction, and with Supreme Leader Kylo, everything is coming from the First Order, except there is Palpatine, and then there is one opposite alignment in Veteran Smuggler Han. With Kenobi, we have some big changes. What we have are primarily Jedi, or there's 6 Jedi Council characters. There are other Galactic Republic characters, so this could really be looked at as a Galactic Republic Galactic Legend, but there are 5 opposite alignment characters that come from major battles. And this was something that we anticipated in terms of the requirements, where we were thinking through, okay, with this event, how are they going to break it down? Which encounters are they going to capture? I didn't anticipate they were going to take so many characters from those battles and make them requirements, because that is a big diversion in the established pattern. Several talk videos ago, we went through the major fights from Kenobi's lore to think through what encounters were going to be part of this Galactic Legend event. So obviously Maul, Qui-Gon was going to be an encounter. I was thinking Vizsla could potentially be one. That was when I was rooting for Maul to be the Dark Side Galactic Legend. Cad Bane has had some major encounters with Kenobi. Jango had the Camino fight. Grievous, we didn't think though it was going to be Grievous, Watt, and IG-100. We did think Grievous was going to be a requirement. And then they're going to end this event on Mustafar against Anakin. Now when we think of the potential Fallen Anakin or Lord Vader requirements, Tuskens is an important moment. I don't think it's going to be a requirement. CG, for all the hate they get, these requirements have been getting more and more beneficial to players. We're going to break that down in a moment. Asajj, I think, is likely and probable. Barriss, I think, is probable. Dooku, I think, could be back. Something about the Order 66, and then wrapping up the same as Kenobi with Mustafar. With those encounters in mind, we can revisit the speculation on the Dark Side Galactic Legend, starting with the opposite alignment requirements. So it's going to be gas, 100%, and I think we're going to have either Jedi Knight Anakin or Ahsoka, not both. Commander Tano we will definitely have. That's going to be a guarantee. Padme's a guarantee, and Ki-Adi-Mundi I think we need to talk about. I think that's very likely. So with Anakin, he's been a requirement before. They have doubled up on requirements previously, but they haven't done it multiple times per Galactic Legend. So there's a lower chance that I think we see Jedi Knight Anakin than possibly having 2 versions of Ahsoka or potentially another light side Galactic Legend. Ki-Adi-Mundi, we're potentially 3 months away from this Dark Side Galactic Legend, which gives a lot of guilds a lot more time to get him. And on top of that, the Bad Batch at that point will be farmed up for a lot of the player base. I certainly will have them all at 7 stars. And a lot of the bigger players will be having the Bad Batch relict. And that, in all likelihood, is going to make the Ki-Adi-Mundi special mission way easier, lessening the impact of making Ki-Adi-Mundi a requirement. So Order 66 is going to be a part of this thing. Ki-Adi-Mundi might be the Jedi we're losing to Order 66 in this event. Previously, I didn't like Cam as a Galactic Legend requirement because of his potential to ruin guilds, but that's not going to be the same problem in 3 months when I think we can expect to see this Darkside Galactic Legend. They're going to want Kenobi to have his time in the arena meta. Next up, we have more Sith. Sith Eternal Emperor was much more of an Empire-specific character with a number of Sith requirements. I think we can expect Sith to be heavy on this one. So in this case, I have the Sith Triumvirate. I don't think we're going to see all three, but it's possible that we see all three as a requirement, and we're definitely going to see Asajj. I think Asajj makes too much sense as her importance to that era of lore. The empty spot here is a marquee character to be named later. There's always a marquee character, at least one, sometimes two, and that slot has been designated for that character. Now with this final set, more Sith, one of these could be dropping out because there are only going to be 14 characters. So technically I'm like one extra right now, but Sidious and Dooku we've both seen before. I think we're only going to see one. Sidious is likely the one to be cut out. Dooku though is too important to the fall of Anakin to not see. Savage hasn't been a requirement before. He's a Sith who makes sense. Clone Wars relevant. Sith Assassin is a Sith that almost nobody has geared up. And Barriss, although technically light side in this scenario, has a dark side encounter with Anakin that is important to Ahsoka leaving the Jedi Order and to Anakin's disillusionment with the Jedi. Now that we have the Kenobi requirements and we've thought through the Lord Vader requirements, we can look at all the GL requirements as a whole, analyze them to think through which GLs are worth pursuing with Grand Arena impact in mind. Not what the end result gets you, but what all of those requirements, how they're going to affect and alter your roster. So right here, I have put all of the requirements in Relic or the Relic level order. And they average out to be around Relic 5. And for Jedi Master Kenobi, it's actually 5.5, so 5.6 rounded up in terms of those requirements. I use that as the model for the Lord Vader requirements. Anakin and Padme at Relic 8. Tano, Traya, Dooku at Relic 7. Potentially Jedi Knight Anakin or Ahsoka at 7. The Marquee is going to be at Relic 5, because if you look through these, we have the Resistance heroes, you have Sith and Hux, you have Piet, Chupio, Mon Mothma, and with Kenobi you have Bo-Katan. So it's not always 2 Marquees, sometimes it's 2, but they have always been at Relic level 5. So whatever that Marquee is going to be, you can expect Relic level 5. And when we look at this, also there's that element of which characters we've seen before. So Rey is required on multiple characters. Palpatine has been required on multiple characters. And it's why I'm okay with seeing that Anakin could potentially be required in 2 spots, or that Darth Dooku could be required in 2 slots. Potentially Sidious, but Dooku more likely. And now thinking through, and then Savage, Barriss, I think those are going to be the weaker ones. I think Scion, the Sith Assassin, is going to be probably Relic 5. He could be higher. Sith Marauder before was at Relic 7. And then the other character, the more desirable characters, I think will be some of these Relic 7s. I don't think they're really going to punish us with some awful relics, because you really look through these Kenobi requirements, they're nice. And from there we can break down these requirements by tier to really understand which of these Galactic Legends are how they're going to affect your roster as a whole. So this first tier here, These are really good relics per my methods video, where I talked about the relics that I like to pursue for my Grand Arena roster, the ones I consider dangerous or really good. These are the ones you go out of your way to get. This next tier here, these are the good relics, but they're not dangerous. They help your roster. They're useful in plenty of other reasons, but they don't meet that dangerous criteria of the relics that I run for. Now this next tier here, we're looking at the useful characters that I wouldn't have relicked if I wasn't otherwise required, but I'm happy to have them, or there's plenty of utility with them at relics. This tier here are characters that you need for either ships or other reasons, so the relics don't really hurt you, but maybe you wouldn't have got them otherwise. This next tier is not worth relicking, but they're usable if you relic them. And this final tier are the just not worth relicking. So when we really look at this, you can see, like, I don't consider Rey having any requirements of dangerous relics. There are some good ones in this tier, but they're not any of the ones that I go out of my way for, whereas all the other Galactic Legends do have those kinds of relics. But as a whole, like SLKR and GL Req, their relics fall in the lower quadrant of requirements, and they're not as beneficial, whereas you look at these Kenobi requirements. And the Kenobi ones could potentially change a lot. Like Ayla, depending on the synergies, there's a potential that Ayla can move all the way up here or higher because of how she would, the functionality there with Kenobi's kit. The same thing with Qui-Gon could potentially go up. He's so fragile that I don't think he's going to move to that level, but he could potentially move to this level. And then Mace, if he gets a rework, which it's going to happen at some point. I don't know if it's something that we can expect anytime soon, but Mace could potentially move up, which if he moves up to a different tier, that means with Kenobi, there are potentially no bad characters, no bad relics. So I'm really reconsidering now whether or not I go for Kenobi. I was going to go for a dark side Galactic Legend. I wanted that balance of a dark side and a light side GL. I already have Jedi Master Luke. But when I look at these requirements, they're really desirable. Now with Lord Vader, the way I'm thinking through it, there's a lot of good relics here. There's also potential, there's two Marquis. Marquis usually these days are really well designed. Like I really have a heavy bias towards new kits, so I'm expecting the Marquis to be at this level, even though Bo-Katan is down here. But with further Mandalorian changes, Bo could move higher. She's a decent character, just the Mandalorian faction's not really that good. And then when we revisit like Jedi Knight Luke or Jedi Master Luke with these requirements, these were all heavily on the good relic side. Sith Eternal Emperor, also pretty heavily weighted towards good or decent relics, but with a few more bad ones. But what was nice about Sith Eternal Emperor is those bad relics were all low-level relics. And this is what I mean about CG having built these requirements to be more beneficial towards players. Like they heard the negative criticism about how much we hated the Rey and SLKR requirements. They did make some major adjustments to these new requirements. And we're seeing that now with Jedi Master Kenobi and his requirements, where the really bad ones, Ayla, Qui-Gon, Mace, they're all Relic 3. Everything at Relic 5 or higher are pretty decent. Like Cad Bane's got a ship, Razor Crest. There might be a new capital ship that makes the Razor Crest usable. That could be a great one. IG-100 already is on a good team. Watt, although is the type of character I don't like to relic. He's a great character. Like the relics that I don't like are the relics that just add survivability. I want the relic to also be a threat to taking out your opponent. So that's why, like, even C3PO is down on this tier. He's a great character. I love him at relics. He's very useful in those assault battles, but you can get by without relics on your C3PO. He's plenty survivable without them. Same thing with Hermit Yoda. That's why he's at that tier. But they're great characters. They're plenty usable, and with those GOTB GP requirements, it makes them meet that threshold. But that's why when I look at these newer Galactic Legends, I am considering Kenobi, and I think potentially Lord Vader, if I'm right about even 50% of these, could be a very nice Galactic Legend to wait on. Especially like Sith Eternal Emperor, that's one I was considering going for, but man, like, I get that Rey is good, I get that Supreme Leader Kylo is the most usable in every game mode, but those requirements are rough when you have Grand Arena in mind, as I do. And from there, we're going to wrap it up with free-to-play gearing of my roster. We probably have a few things for Jedi Master Kenobi, and we are going to be working on the Bad Batch. Alright, we're going to do some quick gearing before the next Grand Arena sign up. Tech we're bringing up to Gear 11. That gives me 3 of the Bad Batch now at Gear 11. Finally saved up some Kairos after all of the Galactic Legend work that we've been doing and the other relics that we've been working on. Ayla here we are taking up at Gear 11. I'll show you where my progress is for those Jedi Master Kenobi requirements too, because I'm starting to reconsider whether or not I'm going to go for Kenobi, and I'm starting to think I am. And part of it is just in terms of my progress, I'm really far along. So here are the Sith Eternal Emperor requirements. I still don't have Krennic at Gear 11 or Royal Guard, and Royal Guard's an awful gear. With GL Ray, Vet Chewie, but the other characters are at Gear 11, but a lot of these characters are no good. And then with SLKR, yeah, I did that right. With SLKR, we've got Vet Han needs to get to Gear 11, that staging ground that I like to take the characters at first. But then, similar to GL Ray, a lot of these... and then I have First Order Stormtrooper. A lot of these are characters I don't want at relics. So SLKR is kind of out. And then when I look at these Jedi Master Kenobi requirements, I'm basically every character's at Gear 11. A lot of these characters I don't mind bringing to relics. Ayla might be good at relics for Jedi Master Kenobi. Bo, I think there's probably something in the future that will make her more relevant. That is something I'm considering right now. Now, in terms of the other gearing I'm going to do prior to this round of Grand Arena, I don't know, we might keep it there. Yeah, that's where we're leaving it. We were able to get Hunter to 4 stars, Bo's at 5, and Dark Trooper is at 6 stars in terms of the farms, but that's all the gearing that we're going to do this round. And that's it for my final thoughts for Kenobi for the time being. I am close to getting him, so we'll see. I think my plan for the short term is making my roster more dangerous with specific relics for Grand Arena, but those Kenobi requirements are tempting. So thank you for watching. Be safe out there. Be excellent to each other. This is Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes.